It was reported that Selena Gomez had made a quiet yet striking appearance at Demi Lovato's show earlier that day. And according to those present, the atmosphere had already been electric long before she arrived, with fans filling the venue, lights flashing across the stage, and anticipation building as the performance unfolded in waves of emotion and sound. Yet somewhere in the middle of that charged environment, attention had subtly shifted when whispers began spreading through the crowd that Selena had been spotted entering the venue, not with an entourage meant to draw attention, but in a way that felt understated, almost intentional, as though she had wanted to be there for the moment rather than for the spectacle. And it was said that those closest to the entrance had reacted first, their expressions changing as phones were lifted and quiet excitement turned into a ripple that moved steadily across the audience. While on stage, Demi had continued performing with intensity, seemingly unaware at first, fully immersed in the music and the connection with fans, delivering vocals that carried both strength and vulnerability. And it was only as the murmurs grew louder that a shift in energy became noticeable, not disruptive but undeniably present, as if two separate moments were beginning to overlap in real time. And witnesses later share that Selena had taken her place discreetly, choosing not to draw focus away from the performance, her attention fixed on the stage, watching closely, reacting naturally, and blending into the crowd despite the recognition that followed her. And as the performance progressed, it was described that Demi had reached a particularly emotional segment of the show, one that fans recognized as deeply personal. And in that moment, the lighting softened, the tempo slowed, and the entire venue seemed to hold its breath, creating a space where every lyric felt amplified, every note carrying weight. And it was during this sequence that some attendees claimed Demi had finally noticed Selena in the audience. Though nothing was explicitly said, the subtle change in expression, the slight pause, and the renewed intensity in delivery suggested that something unspoken had been acknowledged, and those watching closely felt that the connection between the two artists had quietly resurfaced in that instant, not through grand gestures, but through presence alone. And if you're enjoying this unfolding story, subscribe for more updates. Like this, as the show continued, it was said that the energy shifted once again, this time lifting into something celebratory, with upbeat tracks bringing the crowd back into motion, hands raised, voices joining together. And throughout it all, Selena remained engaged, at times smiling, at times singing along, her reactions mirroring those of longtime fans rather than someone observing from a distance. And several clips later circulated showing brief glimpses of her in the crowd, each one sparking further conversation online as viewers tried to piece together the significance of her attendance. And according to reports, there had been no official announcement beforehand, no coordinated reveal, which made the moment feel more genuine to those who experienced it live, as though it had simply happened rather than being orchestrated. And as the performance approached its later stages, Demi was said to have addressed the audience with a message that resonated deeply, speaking about growth, resilience, and the importance of support. Though no names were mentioned, many believe the timing carried meaning, especially given Selena's presence, and the crowd responded with a wave of applause that filled the space, reinforcing the sense of unity that had defined the night. And behind the scenes, it was suggested that the two had not interacted publicly during the show itself, choosing instead to keep the focus where it belonged, on the music and the fans who had come to experience it. Yet that decision only seemed to add to the intrigue, leaving room for interpretation without disrupting the flow of the event. And as the final songs were performed, the atmosphere reached its peak, lights intensifying, sound building, and the audience fully immersed in the closing moments, while Selena remained until the end, not leaving early, not stepping away from the experience, but staying present as the final notes echoed through the venue. And when the show concluded, was reported that she exited in a similar manner to her arrival, quietly, without drawing unnecessary attention, allowing the night to end on its own terms rather than shifting the spotlight. And shortly after, reactions began to surface across social platforms, with fans sharing their perspectives, some expressing surprise, others reflecting on what the moment might represent, and many simply appreciating the fact that it had happened at all, without explanation, without confirmation, just a shared experience witnessed by those who were there. And as discussions continued to grow, the narrative surrounding the event remained consistent, that it had been less about spectacle and more about presence, less about statements and more about subtle acknowledgement. And this perspective seemed to resonate with a wide audience, as people revisited past connections, past collaborations, and the evolving paths of both artists, considering how moments like this could carry significance without needing to be defined. And just before we continue, subscribe for more moments like this, as additional footage surfaced showing different angles of the crowd, different reactions, and each clip added another layer to the story, reinforcing the idea that while the event itself had been planned as a performance, the unexpected element of Selena's attendance had created a secondary narrative that unfolded organically. And it was noted that throughout all of this, neither artist had immediately addressed the situation publicly, allowing the moment to exist without clarification, which only fueled further interest as audiences speculated, while also respecting the possibility that nothing more needed to be said. And in the absence of official commentary, interpretations varied, some viewing it as a simple act of support, others seeing it as a meaningful gesture tied to shared history, and many choosing to focus on the positive energy that defined the night. And as time passed, the story continued to circulate, with media outlets and fans alike revisiting the details, highlighting the authenticity of the moment and the way it had resonated beyond the venue itself. And in reflecting on the sequence of events, it became clear that what stood out most was not a single action, but the combination of elements, the timing, the setting, the subtle interactions, all contributing to an experience that felt both personal and widely shared. And as conversations gradually shifted toward what might come next, whether in terms of music, appearances, or simply continued support, the memory of that night remained intact, defined by its quiet impact rather than dramatic declarations. And in the end, it was said that the significance of Selena's presence at Demi's show lay not in what was explicitly shown or stated, but in what was felt by those who witnessed it, a moment that existed between performance and reality, between past and present, leaving an impression that extended far beyond the duration of the event itself. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe now, because moments like these do not happen often. And when they do, they tend to linger in ways that go beyond expectations, shaping conversations and capturing attention long after the lights have dimmed and the music has faded.